everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe coming to you from Los Angeles, California. It is November 19, 2020. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across the U.S. Eliza Gonzalez-Manglatmot in Washington, D.C.
D.C. Mayor announces a $100 million bridge fund to support the hospitality, entertainment, and retail sectors grappling with COVID-19 emergency.
Leila Agbalog in Bakersfield, California.
Los Angeles International Airport initiates on-site COVID-19 testing service to provide heightened safety measures with the recent surge in coronavirus cases.
Keisha Rose Labanin in Santa Clarita, California.
Los Angeles County continues free drive-thru flu shots and food distribution events for residents.
JP Era in Sacramento, California reports about Sacramento County encouraging residents to stay safe during the holiday season. Alfred Asenas in Honolulu, Hawaii reports about independent Samoa confirming its first COVID-19 case. Carlo Valdez in Union Township, New Jersey reports about Northeast governors coming together to encourage colleges to provide COVID testing for students before the holiday break. Summer Esguerra in Florida reports about Pensacola mayor declaring a state of emergency and the University of West Florida transitioning to remote learning following the Thanksgiving break. Chai Masaga in Waldorf reports about more restrictions being sent in Maryland following a new surge in COVID-19 cases. Nicole Adeline Padilla in Baton Rouge, Louisiana reports about Governor of Louisiana John Bel Edwards announcing a federal grant for COVID-19 economic recovery. Plus, we'll have a virtual roundtable discussion about how we all help protect the environment in our own little and big ways. Our coverage begins now. First, an overview of today's COVID-19 numbers. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, November 19, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 56,655,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases are the U.S. with 11.6 million, India with 8.9 million, and Brazil with 5.9 million. To date, more than 1,356,000 have succumbed to this virus. Top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are, once again, the U.S. at more than 251,000, Brazil at more than 167,000, and India at more than 131,000. U.S. President Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says the recount of presidential ballots in Georgia means nothing during a press conference given at the Republican National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. Take a look.
Being done in Georgia will tell us nothing because these fraudulent ballots will just be counted again because they wouldn't supply the signatures to match the ballots. So it means nothing. In Pennsylvania, the margin of victory now for Biden, which is not a victory, it's a fraud, is 69,140 votes.
Meanwhile, during a virtual meeting, U.S. President-elect Joe Biden tells Democratic and Republican governors, "We're all in this together," as they discuss issues that states across the nation face amid the coronavirus pandemic. Take a look.
I know many of you are facing shortages of PPE and testing and other supplies. You need help, and I want you to know that I will be your partner in the White House. I don't see this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I don't see this as a red state issue or a blue state issue. I see this, we're all in this together. You know, we haven't been able to get into Operation Warp Speed, but we will take what we learned today and build on that for our planning.
U.S. coronavirus deaths passed 250,000 people Wednesday as New York announced it would close schools to battle a rise in infections and anti-restriction protests in Europe turned violent. The country has now registered 251,445 fatalities, according to a running tally by Johns Hopkins University, by far the highest reported national death toll. U.S. states and cities are imposing a raft of new restrictions, including home confinement, the closure of indoor dining, and a limit on gatherings as cases soar across the country, with more than 157,950 new infections recorded over the past 24 hours on Wednesday. New York Mayor Bill De Blasio said the city's 1,800 public schools would revert to remote learning beginning Thursday after the Big Apple recorded a 7-day average positivity rate of 3%.
And I do want to say how much I feel and understand the frustration of parents that so many of them want their kids to be in school, and that's what I fought for in opening our schools back in September against all odds. We have been safe. New York City has been extraordinary. The way we came back from being the epicenter of the crisis to being one of the safest places in the country, we got to keep it that way. We got to fight back this second wave. Our schools have been safe, extraordinarily safe. We got to keep it that way.
In other news, the COVID-19 pandemic has damaged the livelihood of a lot of people, including those who own businesses and who work for these businesses. In an effort to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on the hospitality, entertainment, and retail industries in the District of Columbia, Mayor Muriel Bowser announces an investment fund to get these sectors through these trying times. In Washington, Eliza Gonzalez-Manglikmot joins us this evening.
Thank you, Alan. That's correct. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, or the DMPED, announced yesterday the Bridge Fund. Now, what is this, Alan? It is a $100 million investment in businesses and workers in the hospitality, entertainment, and retail industries who are struggling with the COVID-19 public health emergency. Alan, Mayor Bowser made mention of how these businesses in the hospitality, entertainment, and retail sectors have suffered enormous loss in helping keep the District of Columbia residents safe by mitigating the spread of the virus. She said the city is, quote, committed to providing the support and resources that will help these sectors get through these challenging times and eventually and hopefully cross the bridge to normalcy. Alan, the Council of the District of Columbia passed the Business Support Grants Emergency Amendment Act of 2020. Now, what is this? This is to establish the Business Support Grant, providing businesses with financial support and aid as they get back on their feet from the pandemic. This legislation authorizes up to $100 million from the Federal CARES Act to provide COVID-19 related relief. Now, through the Bridge Fund, the district will strategically invest to sustain the hospitality, entertainment, and retail sectors to help reduce the ongoing impacts of COVID-19 on workers and businesses. In Washington, D.C., Eliza Gonzalez-Manglikmot, Eagle News. Will live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Eliza, amid the ongoing surge of infections and new COVID restrictions being imposed in cities and states, this funding really is some sort of good news. But how will the Bridge Fund be dispersed?
Alan, it is good news, and these funds will be dispersed via 4 programs. The first is the Restaurant Bridge Fund with $35 million. And then the Hotel Bridge Fund with $30 million, and Entertainment Bridge Fund with $20 million, and the Retail Bridge Fund with $15 million. Alan?
Now, Eliza, we're interested if there's some kind of schedule on who gets the funds first, or will these funds be dispersed all at the same time?
Nice question, Alan. No, these funds will not be dispersed all at the same time. According to Mayor Bowser's announcement, the release of the funds will begin with the Hotel Bridge Fund. All full-service hotels, limited service hotels, extended stay hotels, bed and breakfast facilities, inns and motels located in the District of Columbia with at least 10 rooms will be eligible for the Hotel Bridge Fund, including those that have temporarily suspended operations or are operating in a limited capacity. Now, Alan, the grant funds will be allocated on a per-key basis. The Restaurant and Retail Bridge Funds, however, will both operate as application-based grant programs next month, that is in December. And the Entertainment Bridge Fund will be launched later this year. Alan?
Once again, that's certainly some good news for those sectors involved. And, because of the COVID restrictions, people have seen less of the world, but the world still exists. And a little later on, we're going to be talking about how to protect the environment. When we speak again later, Eliza, will what you have to say be on the smaller scale or something that's on a larger scale when it comes to protecting the environment?
It might be small to some, but to me, it's something big. So it depends. It's subjective.
Every little piece helps. Thank you, Eliza.
You're welcome, Alan.
When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Bakersfield, Santa Clarita, and Sacramento, California. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
It says the best defense is still containment.
We are in uncharted territory.
Final volume 450. The 5 on to 100%. Standing by. Suctioning.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles. Facing a new surge in COVID-19 cases, states, cities, even airports are clamping down on the virus. Los Angeles International Airport joins the battle as it launches an on-site testing service for flyers. In Bakersfield, Leila Agbalog has more.
Los Angeles International Airport initiates on-site COVID-19 testing service to provide heightened safety measures with recent surge of coronavirus cases. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti states, "Testing is our first line of defense against the coronavirus, helping us track this virus and limit its spread, and any steps to expand our testing capacity can save lives. COVID-19 is still here and still dangerous, and building up our testing resources at LAX is a gateway to a stronger crisis response and healthier city." Tuesday of this week, Los Angeles International Airport, or LAX for short, launched interim testing locations at 3 terminals within the airport as a precursor to the rapid testing facility that is set to open on-site the first week of December. The 3 interim sites are located at Terminal 2 on the arrivals level of the Level 1 information booth, Tom Bradley International Terminal at the ticketing level of the ticket counter CO1 to CO5, and Terminal 6 on the arrivals level of the Level 1 information booth. Clarity Lab Solutions will provide FDA-approved COVID-19 testing that will be available on-site for $150 and will be able to provide results to those who purchase the service within 24 hours. Although the results cannot be provided quick enough for those who are about to board their planes, it does provide travelers with the possibility to not have to quarantine for 14 days due to travel restrictions once they arrive at their destination. Los Angeles World Airport's Chief Executive Officer Justin Erbacci explains, by providing easy access to on-site COVID-19 tests, we are enabling the return of air travel to destinations that require a negative test to avoid quarantines or other government restrictions, and helping our guests who must travel during the holidays and beyond to do so safely. In Bakersfield, California, Leila Agbalog, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Leila, this is a great program that the Los Angeles International Airport will make available. I want to know, what type of COVID-19 tests will Clarity Lab Solutions provide, and what are the hours of operation for testing?
Interesting question, Alan. So the COVID-19 test offered at LAX is actually a standard PCR or polymer chain reaction nasal swab test. So the results will be available to travelers within 24 hours. The service is accessible Monday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and no appointments are needed. Back to you, Alan.
Well, that's good news. No appointment needed. And now, Layla, we're going to talk a little bit later about helping protect the environment. What you have to offer in our discussion later, is it something small or something big? What do you have to say?
You know, personally, Alan, I believe that any help that anyone gives does help the environment in a big way. So for me personally, whether it's big or small on my scale, I do hope that it does impact the earth positively in a big way.
All right, we can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for the report, Layla. As a new surge of COVID-19 infections troubles the country, Los Angeles County continues its free contactless flu shots and food distribution for its residents. In Santa Clarita, Eagle News correspondent Keisha Rose Labanan is with us tonight. Keisha.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles County continues to conduct free drive-thru events for residents in need of flu shots and food resources. Now, the rising of coronavirus cases has not stopped county officials in planning and hosting free drive-thru flu shot clinics and food giveaways to assist those in need of these services in the midst of this pandemic. Los Angeles County Supervisor Hilda Solis of the 1st District invites residents of at least 9 years of age to the free drive-thru flu shot clinic, which will be held on Friday at the parking lot of Cal State LA. There will also be COVID-19 screenings available at this location. Now, there are no appointments needed, but all those in attending must wear face coverings to receive this free service. In addition, all those who receive a flu shot will also be given a free food bag and dental hygiene kit. Now, on the same day, Los Angeles County Supervisor Janice Hahn of the 4th District collaborates with the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank to conduct free food drive-through giveaway from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Artesia Library. Now, everyone must drive in with face coverings, and the free food boxes will actually be placed in the car trunks for contactless service. The release of COVID-19 statistics yesterday reported an additional 4,944 new cases, 36 deaths, and 1,188 current hospitalizations. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Health warns, quote, if this county surge continues at the current rate of increase by December 6th, which is actually less than 3 weeks away from today, daily new cases could actually reach up to 4,000. And it is highly recommended that all of Los Angeles residents stay at home for the upcoming holidays to celebrate with immediate household as much as possible. But for the Angelinos who still plan to celebrate with family and friends, public health officials further advise to keep all gatherings outdoors and smaller in size with a maximum of at least 3 households and 15 people, no more than 2 hours, and no sharing of food, utensils, or food. In Santa Clarita, California, Keisha Rose Labanan, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Well, now, Keisha, since Angelinos are being highly encouraged to just celebrate the holidays with their immediate family and to stay at home, any recommendations on how to go about celebrating at home?
Yes, definitely. Actually, Alan, the city of Los Angeles just today released a list of virtual activities that Angelinos can do from the comfort of their home to celebrate the upcoming holidays, which can all be done virtually and with members of their immediate household. There's actually a turkey trot, a 5K or 10K marathon virtual run, so one can celebrate on their own home, at their own homes while staying fit and having fun at the same time. Other ideas include having a karaoke Zoom party and virtual game night, as one can set up online gatherings with family members and friends through video conferencing platforms such as Zoom. And Zoom is actually temporarily suspending its 48-minute time limit on free accounts for the Thanksgiving holiday next week. So there's so much more listed at the city's website, and you can visit it at coronavirus.lacity.org/holidays.
Now, Keisha, yesterday you reported on the COVID-19 numbers. Can you give us any update today?
Alan, actually we received an update about an hour ago, and the numbers actually have gone worse. There's an additional 5,031 positive coronavirus cases with 29 new deaths and 1,238 current hospitalizations. This is the highest number seen and experienced here in Los Angeles County since the start of this pandemic, which brings it actually to a total of 8,975 new COVID-19 cases in the span of 2 days, which you're looking at an average of 4,500 daily new positive cases. Los Angeles County is indeed looking at a rapid increase of COVID-19 cases, which was then what was experienced back in July. And this is actually very unfortunate, Alan.
Yeah, indeed it is. And so, Keisha, later on, we're going to be talking about how we can help protect the environment. And, there might be a lot of crossover ideas on how to do so. For example, mine has to deal with water. And so I'm just wondering, can you give us just a little hint? What does your idea for protecting the environment have to deal with?
Probably has to do with plastic.
Oh, okay. I have a feeling that maybe one of the other correspondents might have the same idea, but I can't wait to hear from you. Keisha, thank you so much for your report.
Thank you, Alan.
The holiday season cannot be stopped from coming, but Sacramento County makes sure its residents are ready and safe amid a global surge in new COVID-19 cases. JP Era in Sacramento files this report.
Here in Sacramento, we currently have a total number of 31,852 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. As this year is beginning to wind down, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases have not. As counties are rolled back to more restrictive tiers, many are worried that the upcoming holiday season will bring another surge of cases into the next year. Although businesses may be closed and people may not be going out as much, another way that the virus has continued to spread is through private gatherings. People may think that private gatherings may be safe since they are around others that they know, but what they don't know is where they may have been or if they may even be positive with COVID. With this holiday season coming up, Sacramento County has put out some tips and information to have an enjoyable yet safe holiday gathering. Having an entirely virtual gathering instead of an in-person one, or if you are having an in-person one, hosting outdoor activities instead of indoor ones along with social distancing and masks are just some of the tips that are outlined that can help to provide a safer holiday gathering. While the holidays are normally times for family and friends to be together, this year may end up being a little different. The safest way to celebrate the holidays this year may be to forego the usual in-person gatherings for virtual gatherings instead, or to at least create a safer environment for your gathering to reduce the spread of the virus. Although we may miss being together with our friends and family, the best thing to do during these times would be to keep everyone as safe as possible. In Sacramento, JP Era, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks for the report. Stay safe, JP. When we come back, reports from Honolulu, Hawaii, Union Township, New Jersey, and Pensacola, Florida.
Kapag may usok, may sulok. Hindi palagi. Dahil kung minsan, kapag may usok, may nag-iihaw.
Inihaw na puwet ng manok. Napakasarap nun.
Sobra kaya kong kumain ng 20 peraso ng isaw ng manok.
Maninamnam, lalo na pag sunog na sunog.
Definitely it's cheap, masarap, and it's comfort food.
Paano kumita sa inihaw? Mihaw. Yan ang ituturo namin sa inyo.
Aralin mo talaga simula sa pagpili ng karne, pakikipag-usap sa mga supplier.
Accessible na pagkain sa pandemic is puro fast food. So nag-isip kami na bakit hindi natin i-amp up yung inihaw.
Up to now, kawan ng Diyos, hindi man ako naluluto.
Sa taas ng energy, nawarak yung damit niya, no? Para ako nasa Disneyland at pinanonood ko yung mga dancers na nasa theater. Ganon ang dating. Grabe kayo, guys. Ang solid nyo.
Pack power. Abangan ang kanilang performance. Dito lang sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Dance Edition.
watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles. The independent state of Samoa has reported its first case of COVID-19 despite current travel restrictions and months of success in preventing the virus from entering the South Pacific nation. Alfred Asenas from our Hawaii Bureau has this report.
Mr. Tulia Epa Sailele Malelegoy, the Prime Minister of the independent state of Samoa, offered some words of calm to his fellow countrymen of more than 200,000 after confirming that a man flew into their country last Friday and tested positive for COVID-19 while in a supervised, isolated environment. During a televised address on Thursday, the Prime Minister stated, and I quote, "We now have one case and will be added to the countries of the world that have the coronavirus." The said patient was a sailor who arrived in Samoa on a repatriation flight from Auckland, New Zealand. Until recently, the remote Pacific Island states were among the most successful in the world at keeping out the virus after closing their borders early in response to the threat, despite the huge cost to tourism-reliant economies. But in the past couple months, countries like Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, the Marshall Islands, and now independent Samoa have lost their coveted virus-free status, although none have so far reported any community transmission. To recall, around this time last year, Samoa had to deal with a measles epidemic that claimed 83 lives, most of them babies and toddlers. Samoa is also trying to avoid repeating history as it lost more than 10,000 people during the influenza pandemic more than a century ago. Now, even as we speak, the island nations and territories of Kiribati, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, Tonga, Tuvalu, as well as American Samoa remain free of COVID-19. Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Asenas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Thank you, Alfred, for that update. Thanksgiving break is only a few days away, and as the nation battles an alarming and record-breaking new surge of coronavirus infections, Northeast governors are encouraging colleges to make available COVID-19 testing for students before they leave campus for the holiday break. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez files this report.
Thanks, Alan. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, along with the governors from New York, Connecticut, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, announced that they will encourage colleges and universities in their states to provide COVID-19 testing for the students who will be going home for Thanksgiving break. If a student is to test positive, that student will be encouraged to isolate on campus before they can travel. These precautions will help in stopping the spread of the virus into their communities. Governor Murphy said, "With Thanksgiving and a broader holiday season fast approaching, we have to recognize that any large family gathering, particularly among different age groups, runs the risk of turning the dinner table into a COVID hotspot. To reduce the risk of transmission across our region, we are encouraging colleges and universities to ramp up testing for students returning home, and for anyone who tests positive to adhere to their state's quarantine restrictions. If we collectively recommit ourselves to the common sense mitigation practices that got us through the first wave of this pandemic, we can save lives before a vaccine becomes broadly available." Additionally, the governors are recommending that the colleges and universities finish their fall semesters by expanding remote instruction. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 4,320 new positive COVID-19 cases, pushing the total to 293,744. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 34 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 14,877 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Thanks, Carlo. We know that students enjoy gifts, especially for the holidays, so perhaps a free COVID test or a COVID test before leaving for Thanksgiving break might be the gift to give. In Florida, Pensacola, the mayor declares a state of emergency. And as the state battles a spike in virus infections, the University of West Florida transitions to remote learning after Thanksgiving break. Eagle News correspondent Summer Isguera files this report.
As COVID-19 cases are rising throughout the country, here in Pensacola, Florida, an uptick in hospitalizations have prompted Pensacola Mayor Grover Robinson to declare a state of emergency in the city. The order, which was issued on November 10, came after data from the Florida Department of Health indicated an increase in the average number of new cases, as well as an increase in positivity rates leading up to November 8th. The order, put into place to protect the welfare of citizens of Pensacola while ensuring the proper functioning of the local government, outlines the role of essential personnel as well as altering work schedules as necessary. Pensacola's mask order remains in place, requiring patrons and employees to wear masks inside businesses within the city limits. And while many people are looking forward to the holiday season, the University of West Florida will transition to all remote classes following the Thanksgiving break. As part of the school's original Fall 2020 reopening plan, which was approved by the Florida Board of Governors on June 23, the switch to remote classes is being put into effect to decrease the spread of COVID-19 following the holiday. All classes, reviews, and final exams will be done virtually. In Pensacola, Florida, Summer Isguera, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Summer. When we come back, updates from Waldorf, Maryland and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And our virtual roundtable discussion about how we contribute in helping protect the environment. That's next. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw materials daw ng mask at tissue products ay iisa lang. Saan naman galing ang balitang yan? Ay basta, narinig ko lang din. Maraming dilim kayang nagpo-post sa Facebook at Twitter, kaya kung ako sa'yo, pumuha ka na din. Sige na't mauna na ako sa'yo
Huwag basta-basta magpaniwala
sa mga nakikita
o nababasa sa social media.
Magsaliksik at i-verify ang lahat ng impormasyon
nakukuha sa internet.
Tandaan,
maging responsable tayo
sa paggamit ng social media
nang hindi magdulot ng panic sa iba.
Kung paanong dapat labanan ng COVID-19
ay gayon din ang ating pagsugpo
sa black propaganda
at maling impormasyon.
Dennis Lu,
Lou Amelda,
Luigian Alfartosa,
Tyranel Pililu,
Hannibal Arevalo,
EBC,
Japan, Euro. We live in interesting times.
Impormasyong mahalaga sa taong bayan. Patas na pagbabalita. Papakinggan ang magkabilang panig. Lilinawin ang mga issue at kaagad na ihahatid ng objektibo. Mata ng Agila. Dumadagit ng pinakasariwang pangyayari, hindi lamang sa loob ng bansa, kundi sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig. Mula sa Eagle News Teams at sa tulong ng makabagong teknolohiya, tiyak na makakalap kaagad ang katotohanan. Para sa mas matalas, malinaw at malalimang pagbabalita. Ito ang mas pinatalas na Mata ng Agila. Inihahatid ng veteranong broadcast journalist na si Eli Saludar. Kasama si Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental 2019, Emma Tiglao. At pinangungunahan ng batikang mamamahayag ng bansa, Vic De Leon Lima. Mata ng Agila, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng gabi, dito sa Net 25.
You are great.
Wow, galing.
Effortless.
That is your moment.
Isang spot na lamang po ang natitira para po sa ating third monthly finals. Sino kaya sa ating mga kalahok ngayon ang makakasama ni na Dexter Nicolao, Elizabeth Leyva at Chito Recafrente para po sa ating last spot sa monthly finals. Sama-sama natin alamin sa biggest talent competition of Philippine TV and online. Ito po ang Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Sing Edition!
Sa mundong waring walang puwang para sa kanilang pagmamahalan, sapat ba ang tibok ng kanilang puso upang bumuo ng sarili nilang daigdig? Inihahandog ng Eagle Broadcasting Corporation ang kauna-unahang romantic drama series ng Net25. Pinagbibidahan nina Ina Asistio at Jeff Eigenman. Tampok sina AJ Mula.
Pero hindi mo nababanggit na magkakilala pala kayo.
Ariel Rosas.
Akala ko ba ayaw mo na sa Olvida? Ba't parang dinalaw mo pa sila Reyna?
Tanya Gomez.
Dapat hindi ka na bumalik dito sa Olvida. Di ba sinabi ko na sa'yo? Huwag ka nang magpapakita sa akin.
Sheila Marie Rodriguez.
Ginawa mo lang naman kung anong tama, di ba? Kaya huwag na huwag mong pagsisisihan yun.
Ana Mabasa Mulak.
Ako to, si Abigail Garcia. Classmate tayo nung elementary.
Manolo Silayan. Pag dumating ang panahon na yan, wala nang hahadlang sa inyong dalawa. Giro Custodio.
Yung anak ni Mayora?
Huwag! Huwag mo na sumbong!
At Pauline Ann Poon.
Huli ka!
Sa espesyal na partisipasyon ni Richard Kwan.
Mula ngayon, wag mo na ako ituring, Ama. Tinatakwil na kita bilang anak! Tinatakwil na kita bilang anak!
At Miss Elizabeth Oropesa.
Ned, my guidance work. Hindi ba gumraduate ka, top ng klase ninyo? Top-notcher ka rin sa bar. And you have become a very successful lawyer. And now, future mayor ka ng Olvida.
Malibot man ang buong daigdig, subalit hindi pa rin malilimot ang unang pag-ibig. Ang daigdig ko'y ikaw.
Di tayo maghihiwala.
Sa likhang direksyon ni Nestor Malgapo Jr., sa panulat ni Bing Castro Villanueva, at sa direksyon ni Eduardo Roy Jr. Ang daigdig ko'y ikaw, ang bagong susubaybayan at kapapanabikang teleserye na magpapaibig at magbibigay sa atin ng inspirasyon tuwing Sabado ng gabi. Magsisimula na ngayong Nobyembre. Dito lamang sa Net25. Abangan.
Pagmamahal.
Turuan din natin ang mga bata ng tamang paghugas ng mga kamay. Basain ang kamay ng tubig at lagyan ng sabon. Kuskusin ang iyong mga palad. Gayon din ang pagitan ng mga daliri. Pati na ang likod ng mga palad at daliri. Ganon din ang iyong hinlalaki. Kasama ang mga dulo ng iyong mga daliri. Pagkatapos ay iyong palapulsuhan. Gawin ito ng kahit 20 segundo. Pagkatapos ay banlawan ng tubig at patuyuin.
Amid a new surge in COVID-19 cases, Maryland joins other states in setting more restrictions to mitigate virus spread. In Waldorf, Chai Masaka reports.
Thank you, Alan. As the COVID-19 metrics across the country continue to rise, and with reports of increasing number of community transmissions statewide, more restrictions are set to be imposed in Maryland. Effective tomorrow, November 20, 2020, at 5 p.m., bars and restaurants are ordered to close between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Retail establishments and places of worship are also expected to go back to the limited capacity of 50%. The same goes for bowling alleys, pool halls, roller and ice skating rinks, fitness centers, and social and fraternal clubs. Last week, Governor Larry Hogan imposed the same limited capacity restriction on indoor dining and other personal services. Surge of hospitalizations is one of the major concerns now, and to address the issue, the state's public health officials issued an emergency order. The order prohibits hospital visitations until further notice, except those which involve end-of-life care, obstetrics, parents or guardians of minors, and support for people with disabilities. And in these cases, visitors are limited to those essential for the patient's emotional and physical well-being and must observe CDC guidelines. Hospitals and other medical facilities are also warned to avoid non-urgent and non-life-saving elective procedures. This measure aims to avoid the prolonged use of artificial ventilation, avoid ICU admissions, and the probability of post-hospital care in skilled nursing facilities. Hospitals with full or nearing capacity limits are also allowed to transfer patients to other equipped hospitals across the state where beds are available and the care needed may be provided. Nursing homes are also expected to impose stricter health measures not later than tomorrow, November 20, 2020. Staff are required to submit to COVID tests at least twice a week to ensure the safety of everyone, while the residents are required to have weekly COVID testing. Visitation in all nursing homes in Maryland is now limited to compassionate care, and visitors must present proofs of negative test result within 72 hours before their visit. Lastly, Alan, sports fans will have to settle watching the games on TV. No fans or crowds will be allowed in racetracks or professional and collegiate stadiums across the state, and only about 250 people will be allowed on site. In Waldorf, Maryland, Chai Masagka, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Well, Chai, with this COVID surge happening, we can imagine that some holiday plans have been impacted negatively. What about you? Do you still have plans for the upcoming holidays?
Well, no special plans at this time, Alan. I mean, in a perfect world, this could have been a very good time to, see friends, catch up with friends and family that whom you haven't seen in a while, but, over special or sumptuous dinner. But I mean, I'd rather be safe than sorry, Alan. I mean, knowing that family gatherings are one of the major causes of, community transmission of the virus, I'll just stay home with my own family. I'll just take this much needed break from work, by just chilling at home, spending more quiet time with the family, Alan. Oh, and if I can add this, I'm sorry, Alan, if I can add this to those who cannot avoid attending family gatherings, I think it is wise to get tested first, before they go visit friends and relatives, because you want to make sure you're safe and you're not exposing your family and loved ones to the virus by, unknowingly. So it's really important that you get tested. Alan.
Well, that's absolutely prudent advice. And we certainly want everyone to get tested if they have the opportunity, especially if they, as you said, they don't have a choice. We'll be visiting family. And speaking of family, now because of the pandemic, a lot of people are staying home. The carbon footprint might be better for their environment because there's less people on the roads, less people just out and about. But when it comes to your family, is your family the such that really follows habits and practices to protect the environment? And if so, who in your family is the biggest leader?
I think I am the biggest leader, Alan. I mean, but I really try to train my kids, the very basic, don't litter, don't keep your trash and put it in the proper trash can or trash bin. Those basic things will really go a long way, Alan.
And then we'll hear at the end of our broadcast what you do to help protect the environment. Thank you so much for your report, Chai. The governor of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, announces a federal grant for COVID-19 economic recovery. In Baton Rouge, Nicole Adeline Padilla has more.
Thank you, Alan, and greetings from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Today, November 19, Governor John Bel Edwards and Louisiana Economic Development Secretary Don Pearson embraced $2.4 million in federal funds. U.S. Department of Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross announced the Louisiana Award today with a grant coming from the Commerce Department's Economic Development Administration. They hope that the funds will spur business recovery throughout Louisiana in response to the COVID-19 public health emergency. The department will work with economic developers statewide on recovery-focused efforts and hopes to retain and attract small and large businesses. Governor Edwards expressed his thanks by saying, "We are deeply appreciative of this EDA technical assistance grant and what it can do for businesses' recovery throughout our state. As we continue to chart a path toward COVID-19 health recovery, we also are mindful of the major impact this health crisis has had upon the businesses of Louisiana. LED will work with its regional and local partners across the state to fund meaningful economic development programs that can secure jobs and investment for our economy." The EDA grant is a part of a $1.5 billion package of economic development assistance programs to help communities prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus pandemic. In order to identify COVID-19 recovery projects in Louisiana, LED will survey key economic development organizations and small business service providers. The efforts will focus on local projects designed to have maximum impact on the state's economic recovery. The Commerce Secretary, Ross, said this investment will provide the resources that Louisiana needs to rebound from the coronavirus pandemic and in turn create a stronger and more resilient state economy for the future. I hope you are doing well there, Alan, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm Nicole Padilla, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
I am doing well, Nicole. Thank you for asking, and thank you for that report, that update about COVID-19 in your area. Viewers, as you can tell, our reports tonight have been about COVID-19. And as we all know, when the pandemic first broke out, the world seemed to stand still. But the need for protecting the environment, that was a cause, or there is a cause that still marches on, because our planet is indeed beleaguered when it comes to environmental harm. And so we have our team of experts, at least in a sense, of Eagle News correspondents who are going to share with us what they do, the big things and or the little things that they do to help protect the environment. So I welcome now our correspondents. And why don't we go first to Eliza out there in Washington, D.C. Eliza, what can you offer us?
Hi, Alan. I knew you were going to call me first. Well, Alan, to contribute in helping protect the planet from unnecessary pollution and unnecessary damage, our family, my family, we refrain from using plastic straws. We use this instead. You see it? It's a reusable straw. So we have a couple of this straw in the house. We use it to avoid disposal of plastic that we know is dangerous to the environment. We also refrain from drinking water in disposable bottles. Instead, we use this.
Right. That's a Hydro Flask, right?
Yes, a reusable water bottle every time we leave the house. And to complete the set, Alan, instead of using disposable forks, we use these when we go have boxed lunch to work. What are these, Alan? These are chopsticks. So very handy. Just put it in your purse or in your lunch box. So that will keep you from using plastic spoons and fork. And this dress that I'm wearing tonight is from the thrift store. So why is buying pre-loved clothes and good for the environment? Because it is a very eco-friendly habit, since the fashion industry is said to be the least eco-sustainable one in the world. So that's my little contributions to helping keep our planet safe from unnecessary or further damage. Alan?
Right. I recognize all the items that you presented. But the first one you presented, the straw, I thought that was like one of those poison blow dart weapons. But it's not. It's a straw that you use. Wow, we can really have to applaud you on that.
You can use it. I guess it could be used as a self-defense thing too. I don't know.
Well, thanks, Eliza. Those were all extremely wonderful tips. We're going to move on now to, how about Layla? Layla, what do you have for us, little things or big things or both, to protect the environment?
You know what, Alan? I do have to agree with Eliza. So I did switch over to reusable straws. I don't have any with me right now, but I have started using those. I also did start shopping at the thrift store. I also have lessen the amount of items that I purchase. At the beginning of quarantine, I used to buy a lot of things just out of boredom, but I realized that's not good for me or for my wallet. So I have lessened down on all of the Amazon packages that come in, all of the brown boxes, the plastic. So I've lessened down on that. But I also have taken the opportunity to walk around in my local community to the closest stores, closest gas stations, if I need anything from the convenience store, if I need anything, if I want a smoothie, I can walk. It's about a little less than a mile, so it's not really necessary for me to have to drive all the way over to grab food. I can just walk with my dog, and it's not only good for the environment because of reducing my carbon footprint, but it's also good for my own health. We've been in quarantine for about 8 months now, getting close to a year. I know the gyms have been closed. They're closing back up. So it's good to take every opportunity you can to be outside, enjoy the weather, and also just stay active. So that's what I've been doing, not only for the planet, but for myself.
Excellent. Now, Layla, you mentioned you walk over to get your smoothie, and you use the straw, the reusable straw that you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, well, actually, for myself, if anything, if I forget a straw, I just ask them not to use them, like the cover. I don't think it's really necessary. I know that Starbucks uses a more, plastic-friendly cups now that are better for the environment. But of course, some local places aren't really on that trend yet. So even if I forget a straw, I just ask them not to cover the drink. So that also works out.
And then you mentioned that you're ordering less from Amazon, and that's where actually I think I saw last time that straw, or that looks like a poison blow dart gun, was used in the Amazon rainforest, but has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. The one thing I liked that you mentioned, Layla, was that you said you buy less. Right. And I certainly hope I don't take this away from any of the other correspondents that might be thinking the same thing, but I did want to bring this up in case it's not mentioned. When it comes to buying less, what I found out, because Eagle News here in Los Angeles, we've covered a few food giveaways during the pandemic to address food insecurities. And what we found out from our local food banks is that they need donations all the time. Well, as a society that buys in bulk, sometimes you have more food than you need. And instead of throwing it out, bring it to your local food bank, and they might be able to use it. So, I think that's very good advice, Layla, telling everyone, buy a little bit less. You may not need so much, but in case you have some extra, maybe go down to the local food bank and see if it can be used for others with food insecurities. Thank you, Layla. Hang out. We want to talk some more. Let's go to Chai. Chai, we know that your household respects the environment, tries to protect it. What about for yourself? What do you do, little or small?
Simple things, Alan. Simple things, Alan. I keep a small trash box. I say trash box because it's a box in my car. So whenever I have, wrappers or what have you, I keep it and throw it in my own trash box in the car so I don't litter. And that's what I tell my kids too, you don't just throw your trash on the street whenever you feel like it. So those are simple things. And also, you probably observe this too in your own county. We have separate bins for recyclable, recyclable trash and as separate from the trash. So I have 2 trash bins in our house. So I really strictly observe those. I separate all those recyclable materials or trash like water bottles, cardboards, and any recyclable materials. And, that's helping the county too to easily collect those recyclable trash. And also, Alan, if I can mention this, in our church, we have this Adopt a Road project. And, members of our congregation, we have adopted a road in Waldorf, which we clean quarterly. So, we pick up litters. We try to make the pathways or the pathwalks safe and clean and beautify it as well, by clearing it off with branches, twigs, and all those litter. So I think those simple things would really help a lot keeping our environment, taking care of our environment, and also keeping our pedestrians and commuters safe, in using those roads. So those are my simple contribution in taking care of the environment.
Now, Chai, very impressive that your church organization has adopted a road, because isn't it that if you keep the community nice and clean, the community members are more inspired to also take care of the neighborhood?
Yes, that's true, Alan. It inspired them to take care of the environment of their own community. And also, even those who are not members of the church are inspired because they see these members of this church are doing something for the community. So it's like, it's also inspiring them to do their share in taking care of the environment.
Great work, Chai. You've inspired me to go ahead and ask Keisha. Keisha Rose, what about you? What is it that you do for the environment? I'm wondering if you can get close to what Chai is doing for the environment. But please tell us, what do you do?
Okay, Alan, so earlier I actually had mentioned plastic, but I actually thought of another good one, which actually could be done by a lot of students like myself, which would actually be to reuse and recycle books. So instead of buying brand new books, you could actually buy used books even at a discounted price. And at that point, you're basically essentially just recycling the book. Now, if you wanted to take it a step further, you can actually download ebooks or even the PDF version of the book. Personally, I find ebooks a little bit more difficult to navigate, but at least I know I'm protecting the environment. And also, I wish we could all go electric, but it's not that easy. Right, Alan?
No, it's not easy for me. But, that's great. Yes, I totally agree. Recycle books. Other students might need it who could get it at a discount. So that's wonderful, Keisha. I do salute you for that. And I guess it's about time for me to talk about the little thing that I do. And there's a lot of things that all of you have mentioned, and I'm just going to mention one that I make sure of over here at my own house. Brushing my teeth, I make sure to turn off the water. I don't leave the water running. I think the bathroom is the room in the house that uses the most amount of water. And so what I like to do is whenever I'm brushing my teeth, I don't leave the water running. The only other way I could think of to save more water is to never brush your teeth again. Tried that once. I don't recommend it. I didn't lose teeth, but I lost friends. So keep the water off. For the rest of you, though, we want to salute you for protecting the environment. And the others who also deserve some recognition are, of course, our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. We want to continue to thank them with, if you'll join me, a round of applause. All right, we appreciate you and all of you who protect the environment. That is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Basoyahe. We live in interesting times.